You asking me that?
Yeah, he said you asking me that. Yeah, that's
No, I just thought you
yo,
was just putting it out there for a second.
yo.
Okay. Um.
Hey,
Oh man.
I thought he was really thinking about it. I was like, damn, he thinking,
That's what I
thinking.
said. I
I
said,
was
oh, he finna come with a fire answer.
You know, I never grew up with educators that looked like myself. I always knew that wisdom was a powerful tool, but I also know that oftentimes we neglect it because of who it comes from. No, it's not necessarily just about being a king. It's more so about becoming a kingmaker.
man, you got to be close enough to relate, but far enough ahead to inspire. What's going on, beautiful people? This is the Let's Grow Together podcast, the place where diverse individuals and communities come to serve, connect, and grow in the areas that they're most passionate about. This your boy James. I am joined with my brother Marcus, as always. How you doing, brother?
All is well, swell, man. You know, we coming off a homecoming weekend, so we still
Oh
charged
yeah.
up, right? we had a blast, man. But my favorite part about it was having baby girl actually at the step show. Baby was
Okay.
out there doing her little steps after the fact, just exposure, everything. Again, me and the wife met on Fayetteville State campus, so man, we owe it a lot. So being able to reminisce the old dorms we was in, the old stomping
Yeah.
grounds, man, it was beautiful, very reflective, very reflective.
Man, I know homecoming at a HBCU, it got to be a little different, man. Tell me about that.
Man, it's a movie. It's a movie. Is all I say, man. We
Yeah.
always have a good time. I remember that's really the highlight of my college career, man. Is again being able to go back see the homies, and really, I remember being on campus during homecoming. It's a
Hmm.
drastically different experience. And
Yeah.
this year, man, I actually spoke on a panel from an alumni perspective to the college students, man. So it was dope. We actually had 4 members from our executive team with the opportunity to do it. So it was beautiful to be able to get back to our alma mater.
Man, that's dope.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
beautiful, man. I actually never went to any homecoming event at my school. Obviously,
What?
obviously as an alumni. When I was there, it was
Yeah, yeah.
different. But I went to a PWI, man, and I loved
Hmm.
my experience. But it was just one of those things when I saw the kinds of people that came back and was participating in homecoming. I was like, nah, that ain't gonna be me.
I'm straight.
You know what I'm saying? That ain't my crowd. I got other things to do, man. But
Understood.
bro, I had a powerful meeting with Kim Hunter. We actually had her on the podcast. She was one of our first female guests.
Yeah.
She hit me up, man, looking to do a collaboration with our organizations. But man, we were just talking about life. And it's one of those dope things where it's like you're at a certain level of awareness that you can have conversations, and it's like you say stuff and people get it.
Mm.
Sometimes like you might drop a gem and it's like you waiting on people to get it and they don't get
And they
it.
go over their
It
head.
go over
Yeah.
their head. You like, dang, but like, bro, we was
Yeah.
talking. I
Yeah.
would say something, and she would be like, yeah, and like bring it right back at me, bro. So it was just
Mhm.
like, bro, my cup was so filled. So then I went to one of our programs, and it was so funny because I'm like, God does this sometimes. Like He gives you an opportunity to be filled up and to feel good, but then He'll give you an opportunity that challenges you to see like, is this really
Mm.
what are you really who you say you are, and are you truly passionate about this work? Because we were
Mm.
literally talking about working with youth. She's a therapist now, so we were doing some conversations about curriculum related to uh, cognitive behavior therapy. And not to make this very long-winded, but she gave me some gems, like some really good gems. So I go to my program, and I'm a stickler for time, bro. I'm like, our program starts at 4 o'clock. If you're not here by 4:10, because we do check-ins, you know what I'm saying? You sign in, I let people do that thing. You go to the bathroom real quick. But if you're not here by 4:10, I'm like, it's a wrap. Like, you can't come in because we got food. And that's really why the kids be coming. They want the food. So I'm like, if you're not here by 4:10, it's a wrap. So of course, some kids come in. It's 4:30, 4:45, and I seen them. They was smoking and some more stuff. So I walk up to them. I'm like, I gotta eat something. Holler at them. So I say, hey, what's good, y'all? It's love. I said it's love the whole time. Like, what's good, y'all? I'm like, yeah. We got the program every day. 4 to 5:30. If y'all come on time, man, we gonna welcome y'all every time. We got food. Da da da. So one of them was like, okay, cool. What y'all got to eat today? So I tell him. The other dude looked me straight in my face, bro, and said, well, I don't give a fuck about none of that. He said, what a weed at? I'm like,
Mm.
I, bro, I was taken aback. But it was crazy, bro. I didn't respond. I didn't react. Like, my facial expression didn't change. I was just shocked that he just said that. I was like, damn. So I'm like, I looked at his homie. His homie like, what are you talking about? What are you, like, his homie like, because his homie know that was mad disrespectful. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like,
Definitely.
so I'm like, yeah, man. But you know what I'm saying? We here every Monday. Woo, if y'all want to come check us out next week. So I go back in the room. But here's the crazy part. My energy didn't change. We were doing this lesson about like something that you've been struggling with, that you know you need some assistance with. And one of the girls wrote on the paper, man, I'm just trying to stay alive or something like that. And when I read it, I was like, okay, I feel it. You know, you in Chicago. But when, you know, we were like, share it, she said it out loud. And when she said it out loud, it sounded a little bit concerning. So I didn't believe I had the tools to handle the situation. And then especially coming off the first situation. So I pulled one of my counterparts to the side and I said, hey, you know, we gotta handle this. But we was able to get it taken care of. But the lesson in this, and the reason that I even bring it up, was because when I was talking to my mentor, she literally gave me tools to handle that specific situation. Really, you know what I'm saying? And it was crazy. It was like if someone responds to you this way, you know, gives you this hostile response like dude did. And they was like, man, when somebody comes to you and they express something, but you don't know what to do, like, this is what you could do. And one of them was like, seek help or seek aid. I went to my homie that was more well-versed in that area. I'm like, I need some aid and assistance. And we was able to take care of it. And I felt real good about it. But it's those type of tools, bro, I'm grateful for.
But I think it all leads back to, in the midst of talking to her, y'all on the same frequency. So it was already, you know, a foundation to build off of. And again, it sounded like she empowered you to put it in play seconds, momentarily later, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I'm telling you, man, I always say, I prayed to God to use me as a vessel. And literally, man, as soon as I got off my knees, my phone rang for what I just prayed for. So it's real. Awesome. But let's dive into it, man. I know we got something good as always for the quote for today. So I'm interested to see, what do you have, good brother?
All right. Prison isn't the end, it's a beginning. The real prison is the mind that won't free itself. This is from my brother Malcolm X. Marcus, what you thinking over there?
Brett Oss, man, it reminds me of a quote I got tatted, to be honest, bro. Says the mind is itself, and within itself can create a heaven of a hell or a hell of a heaven.
I remember that.
And really, you have the power to entrap yourself, but also manifest whatever you desire. There's no limitations that come with it. But oftentimes, you know, what they say, the idle mind is a devil's playground simultaneously. So it definitely goes hand in hand. You have the ability to manifest or bring harm to yourself based on, you know, kind of where that headspace is. That's a vital playing ground for all parties. What's your thoughts?
Man, I could summarize it in a sentence. Like, this is how real it is. But you are not a product of your circumstance. You are a product of your thinking. Like, if I had to break it down, like, not overcomplicate it, like, that's it. Because, like, just change the word prison and use circumstance, use choices, use, you know what I'm saying? Like, just change that word out. It's just saying that, like, this is not the end. Like, where you are is not the end, it's the beginning. The real prison, the real issue is if you never grow out of the place that you are, no matter where it is. So that's why I'm like, at the end of the day, it boils down to, you are not a product of your circumstance. You are a product of your thinking.
It sounds like just paradigm shifts is necessary to overcome. Now, man, I'm interested to get our guest perspective on this, man. I'm excited to bring our brother back to give us a little bit more insight, man. Casey, hop on, man. Give us a little bit of insight what this means to you.
What's going on, man? It's a dope quote, man. Y'all know Malcolm X, my guy. Y'all see what's going on. But the quote relates so much, bro. Man, when I heard it, it was like, the greatest discovery is self-discovery. I always tell people that until you know yourself, you're gonna always fall prison to everything else. And a lot of times we fall prison to our personalities. You understand me? Because our personalities is a bunch of things that we picked up along the way to cover up some things that we haven't even addressed. We haven't even healed from. You understand me? So until you start addressing some things that's deeply rooted inside of you, you're gonna always be a prisoner of your lower self or your circumstances and situations. Yeah. So in prisons is where I kind of found myself. So it was neat. That's why I don't regret it. I walk in my truth and my power because that's where I found myself at. That's why I made amends with myself. That's why I was beginning the journey of healing myself. So
yeah. You just said something about your lower self. I'm interested to get a little bit of perspective on that, right? Can you share with somebody who may not know what you meant by that?
yeah, my lower self is all my lower thoughts, things that's not in harmony with righteous justice, reciprocity, things that's not in alignment with the things that we do to contribute to humanity. Your lower self could be anything that keep you stagnated or keep you from getting or leaving something behind for the next generation to grow from. Anything, all these lower thoughts, whether it's lust, alcoholism, drugs, whether it's repeated incarceration, whether it's abusing your spouse, wherever that may be, it's still a lower vibrational thought process. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Had to get deep from an intro perspective. That's all.
for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, man. Yeah, Casey. Man. Well, for the Let's Grow Together family, y'all know me and Mark has been rocking together for 2-3 years now. We had the opportunity to my team had the opportunity to come down there and meet these guys in person, and so I actually got to be in the same space with Marcus and Casey. And when I tell you, like, what y'all gonna hear from Casey, like, he'll say the same thing on camera, off camera, like, dope brother. I just got to get that context, man, because I remember when we first interviewed you, like, and I got on, I was just like, man, I don't know what this about to be like. I don't know what type of questions to ask. I didn't know how you would respond. But when I talked to you, I'm like, man, that's a dope dude, like, locked in, like, really aligned. You know what I'm saying? So, I would love for you just to just give a really brief recap into a little bit of your story, because some of our listeners, they may just start listening a couple episodes ago, right? So they might not have heard your episode. So just give our listeners just a little bit of background of who Casey is, and let them know what you bring to the table.
Yeah, I'm just a guy like a lot of other guys out here in the community, man, that got a story. I always tell people in 2002, I was a junior in high school, had just been released from a juvenile facility actually, and got transferred that juvenile probation down here to Laurinburg, North Carolina. And from there, a year later, I found myself in the situation again as a junior in high school at 17, incarcerated. As a result of that, at 18, I found myself in prison with a 20-year sentence. So that's just a little backdrop. Hence, the reason why I always wear this uniform is to bring awareness to some of the things that I experienced and some of the things that I saw that made things kind of make sense as to why I seen a overload of black men and brown men, and now even black women oversaturating the criminal justice system. So that's who I was. But to now today, I am a proud father for one, of a soon to be 3-year-old son next month. I'm a business owner, a full-time student at Fayetteville State University. Just striving to build from the ground up. You know that old saying, I come from an environment where I used to be a product of my environment. So now I'm standing on business. I'm a product for my environment. So it's a difference.
Let's get it. Hold on. He's on fire. Hey, that was hot. He said, I'm a product for my environment. I ain't heard that one. That's hot. That's hot.
I love it. I love it. So you dabble, you do a lot, man. One thing that I did hear you speak about is being a college student on Fayetteville State, man. That is a drastic transition. I'm interested to know, what was that perspective like, and even more context, man. We were just at homecoming, bro. How was that for you? Again, just having a drastic shift in paradigms, as we talked about earlier.
Man, it was more. I was more prepared for the moment than I was the last time. I think the first time I ever went to a homecoming ever, and let alone it happened to be a HBCU, it was mind blowing that first time. When I got there that second time, I was kind of prepared, kind of amped up for it, anticipating a lot of things. But it's always good to see black folks just come together in harmony and just have fun without it ending in such a life ending or some chaos. So man, I just loved it. I loved to see it. It was so much of a family vibe out there. It was like a backyard cookout with just for the whole city though. The great part about homecoming is the alumni. You get to actually tap in with the alumni, get to talk about their culture, their experiences of what it was like coming through that HBCU and their time. So it's always exciting to kind of connect, rub elbows with them, because they always got the keys, to get you to where you're trying to get in, get you in the door. So
Yeah, man. That's the more and more y'all talk about it, I'm just jealous. I'm like, man, bro, I should
Man,
have
it was
went to a
Come
beautiful.
through.
HBC,
Come
It was,
through though.
it was
bro.
beautiful, man.
Like,
It was lovely, man. It was
yeah,
lovely.
man. I'm telling you, like, bro, like I can attest to the alumni piece because there were some, African American alumni at my school, but it was we were the minority, bro. So it was like when you found one, it was a little weird. Like you're like, all right, is he gonna be approachable? Is it, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like how is it? But I'm like, I could just imagine being at a HBCU. It's you and your, it's like family. You know what I'm saying?
It's
Everybody
family.
just
For
like
sure.
so. I'm really hating on that. I'm really hating on that, man. Like
Ain't
I
that
can't.
ain't that ain't nothing to hate on because you could easily pull up, man. But it's definitely a dope experience. But Casey, being a college student now, man, like what is that like for you on a day-to-day basis? I know you've been doing a phenomenal job. You just talked about leveraging connections from staff, being a little bit more of a tenured student, being able to engage with them there. But what is it like? You know what I'm saying? The inner kid within you in the midst of being on campus.
Yeah, man, it's amazing. It got its ups and downs because that's what it be, a war between my inner kid and my adult self. Just going to prison at 17, I didn't have a lot of these experiences, right? And now that I find myself in this situation now, I get the experiences through the lens of their experiences. I get to watch, kind of observe, but I also kind of get frustrated because I'm an adult learner. I'm more calculated and strategic about the way I'm moving and the things that I'm after. So it's a balance. You got to have a major balance, but I love every moment of it. I know that being in the collegiate, in the university life, I'm gonna meet some connections and some resources that's gonna be there forever. And one thing about me, one of my niches is networking for relationships to secure resources. Like I build on that. I navigate my life with actually finding the network, to find the relationships, to kind of pour into the relationships to get to the resource, whatever that may be. So I love it, man. I get to experience both worlds, but I also get to heal myself in the process. So this is my inner child working on itself as I learn, as I go, as I grow. So it's dope, man. It's amazing.
Man, that's powerful, man. I know we was kind of talking offline a little bit, man. You really like that guy on campus, man. Like to be a non-traditional student. I've been seeing you doing a lot of panel discussions. I know you got a podcast that you guys are doing. Would love for you to talk about some of those speaking engagements that you've had, along with the podcast that you plan. And also you drop the name too, so our listeners can know what that is.
For sure, the podcast is culturally expressed, the HBCU edition, where I co-host, I host, and also have a co-host, and I also bring just explore and navigate the university life, where we call it culture meets conversation. And one thing about the HBCU life is so many different stories, right? That got them guys in their position as professionals or whatever they find themselves in. So I just
Mm-hmm.
want to have that necessary conversation between student, professional, and staff to kind of have bring things to fruition for whatever we trying to see.
So like what sparked that? Like where did the idea come from? Was it just like, man, you because I know you have this networking background and networking for resources specifically, was it like, man, let me create a space similar to like Let's Grow Together, where people can come together and like share ideas but also do some tangible stuff too.
Oh yeah, I got it from actually. I had the idea of just culturally expressing itself.
Mm-hmm.
HBCU edition wasn't part of it. That came along through my journey. As a kid, I remember we had that first gala. I remember I told Mark he had gift the young ladies. I think it was the Airbnb. And the one thing I realized as
Yeah.
a young black kid, I was like, bro, where was I at when these things was going on? All these young, beautiful, intelligent college young ladies there, and I would remember like I did not recall nothing like that. So it was
Yeah.
like, hey, maybe I can bring another element to this now that I'm in this HBC. Now that I'm in college, coming from the background that I have, I know it's a lot of brothers that watch me and is looking at me to actually accomplish some things. So I was like, yo,
Yeah.
I can create a platform for people that look like me, come from where I came from, but also for the individuals that's in these neighborhoods surrounding the community that never even had the experience of being on the HBCU campus. So I decided to bring the conversation to them just through the internet. So
Love
yeah.
it.
That's powerful. So I'm interested, from the outside looking in, it's a dope concept. But I also saw you travel. I don't know if it was this year, but it was recently. You had went to, I believe, the next level. What was it? The Level Up Speakers Conference.
The next level speakers
Yeah,
conference.
Next Level Speakers Conference. Okay, yeah, yeah. And what's the guy's name? Is it Jeremy?
Jeremy Anderson.
Jeremy Anderson. Yes, yes, yes. He works with ET. I know he works really closely with ET. How was that experience?
Man, it was phenomenal. It was everything that I needed to see as a speaker myself.
Hmm.
A lot of times you be in this space as a speaker, you kind of get a flaw, like a type of blockage. Like as a speaker, you got to be real creative.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You know, like we have a physical product that we out here trying to give to the people. So you got to be creative as a speaker. But I also learned certain small details of the game that I had no knowledge of. So it's actually helping me scale my business a little bit better and actually package my story in a way that it will fit for retention, reentry, and for things like that. But one thing I will say, they are very impressionable. They hands on, they one on one. This phenomenal. It's family
Yeah.
vibes. I love it. I love it. Yeah.
Yeah. Not to. I know Marcus. You like, damn, James. You running your mouth. But
Nah, you got it.
man, because I think one of the dope things, is you just said it, man. It's finding a way to package your story in a way that really makes sense, right? Because it's not about telling your entire story, right? Although you got a dope story, like I feel like everybody has a dope story, but it's like packaging it in a way that's impactful. Because I think sometimes like you start running off at the mouth telling the story and people lose the point. So I love that you were able to grasp that because it took me a long time to figure out like, man, I don't need to tell them the whole story. You just got to sprinkle bits and pieces in so where they're like, oh, I see myself in that. I get it. It makes sense. Let me apply that. So that's powerful.
For sure.
Bullet points. Bullet points.
Shout
For
out to shout out
storytelling
to
is the
Marcus.
thing.
Shout out to Marcus. Hey, that was one of the first gems Marcus dropped on me. Like so simple, but he was like, "Man, bro, you be thinking too much, man. Just do bullet points." And
Nah, for sure.
I was like, facts. And bullet points rule the land now.
Yeah.
Bullet points, acronyms, all the above. Nah, fire though. But bro, tell us a little bit about the business, man. More visions empowerment. The name within itself is dope, man. But I'm interested to get a little bit more insight. What does that entail? What do you offer for the people?
Well, for
Push it.
sure, man.
Yeah.
More Vision Empowerment is initially a speakers company that developed workshops around social emotional learning, restorative justice practices, leadership development, and professional development. But it's like a module. You understand me? Like the program itself, you would have to actually go through this pyramid before you can actually get to the professional development. A lot of times, we prepare our children professionally, we prepare our children maybe educationally, but we don't actually address and uproot some eternal behaviors that they have in the house, and then they take that into their professional career. They take that to their collegiate career, and we're trying to figure out like, hey, my kid was started off great, but what is going on? So a lot of these things is just basically helping them understand and process their emotions in a way where it can help them thrive for life after their parents. You understand what I'm saying? So yeah, that's the business. That's just what I do. Right now, we integrating into the reentry platform. No, it's a lot of guys there, like I said, that's watching me here, trying to figure out like how can I take my ideas and bring it to fruition once I get there with so many barriers and blockers that's on me as a convicted felon. So we going into that space as well and actually helping them process some of the many different frustrations and emotions that you're going to go through. A lot of times people have create something or service and you go into the place and they actually think that okay, just from you hearing the information that it's just gonna work like that.
Yep.
No, like that. It's actual practical tools that keep you aware of your where you're at throughout your process to make sure you get there. You
Yeah.
understand?
Yeah. That's
The only way, yeah.
yeah. You talking that talk, bro. You genuinely talking that talk. I just had the meeting earlier, and we were just talking about this. The cognitive behavior therapist. She was literally saying like, part of the issue is like the therapy is one thing, right? Like we talk about the ideas, we get really dope, powerful information, but then there has to be a practical side. Like there has to be some type of practice every day that you have to do to make sure that you're staying in alignment to where you want to be. Because again, we understand paradigms that they never disappear. Like paradigms just get weaker and stronger. So the idea is that in order for you to keep that paradigm quiet, you got to do something. You got to practice something new. You got to practice new behavior so you can change. The problem is the old behavior was comfortable. I'm used to that. I got results with that. So I don't want to change. So I love everything that you said, bro, because it's not just the information. Like you got to do something with it once you get it.
For sure. I just created something, if you mind saying. I just created something for myself where I take a sticky note and I put it at the entrance of the doors everywhere I go. I think I just picked this up from information from somewhere where I
Yeah.
create a sticky note and put it on doors or mirrors that'll say, how are you feeling today?
Yeah.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just to take myself to my through my process to make sure I'm regulating my emotions, how I'm supposed to. So
Yeah,
these are
that's
daily
real.
reminders too.
Bro, that's real. We like no BS, bro. Today we just did this where I was telling the kids, like, man, you write this down, you put it on your mirror, cause I'm pretty sure you're gonna go in the bathroom every day. So you put it on the mirror, you look at it, and there's 3 things on there, right? That's gonna help you get towards your goal. And then I'm like, on the back of it, you want to write some things that's gonna help you feel good, cause I'm like, bro, like life is gonna life. You know what I'm saying? So if I can put something on my wall or a sticky note by my door that say like, man, you that guy. Like what? Why wouldn't I? You know what I'm saying? So I love everything about this, bro.
So I want to dive in that a little bit as well too, man. Because one thing I know, just knowing you personally, Casey, you got a lot on your plate. Boy, you be moving and shaking. You're connected with a lot of things. You're pushing your vision. You got the little one, like you know what I'm saying. You're a great resource for a lot of people, and I know oftentimes that cause people to really pull at you. What are you doing to recharge and things of that nature as you overcome, as you kind of reflect on your journey, things of that nature? Whenever you get low, what does that look like to be able to recharge, to be able to pour back into everybody else?
It's a few things, but first of all, the only thing I could think of now is I like the water, bro. I love the water. Like I love going to that beach, man, just to hear the roar of the ocean, just that environment in itself. So that's one thing where I kind of calibrate my energy at. But right now I'm doing a lot of time blocking, a lot of time management, learning how to say no and understand that I got a savior's mentality. I always say I got that savior's mentality. So when somebody call on me, it's like, especially when it's dealing with community work, you know what I mean? That's that hard work. So it's like, oh man, like, okay, let me go get to that. But oftentimes I end up leaving my cup, empty and then trying to figure out where do I need to go next. So right now, just understanding that the work got to get done and everybody got a part to play. So, it's time to start packaging this thing in a way where it can be beneficial for everybody. So, you know what I mean? Like just taking it one step at a time. It's okay. Relax. It's okay.
Yeah. I feel you on saying no though. My no is do not disturb. Like, nah, I just can't pick up now. I get back with you. You know what I'm saying? And to your point, with all the moving pieces and always being called upon to power to play the role that you're expected to play, essentially, right? It can be draining.
Right.
And I definitely feel that no. I definitely feel the D&D and the beach, man. My therapist told me that's my safe space. Man, I got a few shells, so right in our RJ bag. I got a shell from the
Oh,
beach. I got the coral reef little joint, like, bruh, and every now and then I just hold that joint and just be rocking out. You know what I'm saying? Just zoning in and just reflecting on the memories. But I've also been more intentional with taking pictures at the beach or seeing Avery at the beach. And again, just looking at that, it takes me back to that mentality all over again as well. So, nah, beautiful. I'm 100% with you.
man. All right, man. Let's shift the conversation, man, to an RJ conversation, man. We got some practitioners on the call. I would love to just hear how y'all have been using restorative practice as a resource. Like how have y'all gone in some of the schools y'all partner with? Like what have y'all been doing?
So, bruh, tech. How is tech for you, Casey?
Man, tech was electrifying. It was everything that I needed in this lane right here to see because it's needed. It's just always a testament. Like when you see the effects of what can happen afterwards, it's a testament of what's missing out here in so many different spaces. So
Yeah.
I loved every bit of it, man. We enjoyed it. It was
So
very,
what's
very much needed.
what's tech? What's tech? If y'all don't mind me asking.
So, yeah, so it's Fayetteville Tech Community College. So
Okay.
again, everybody for the most part has a local community college. This is one that's connected to a lot of schools, the alternative schools we support. They provide the trades, all that kind of hands-on skills. But we had an opportunity to lead a restorative justice circle around mental health, and it was a young men's conference. So it was a couple of high schools that came on out. We happen to work with the majority of the high schools anyway, so it was an
Right.
easy plug. But yeah, so we pulled them into our session, man. Casey ran a circle, Austin ran a circle, I ran a. But man, Casey, I want to dive into your experience with this young woman, who we were able to get the testimonial from. Because let me provide a little context.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
one, we're walking into a male's forum. No one is high school students. They also offered this to the college. So there was some individuals from the college, and it's non-binary, so anybody can come, but it's a male's forum. When I hear that, that means I could go. I'm a male. If I see a women forum that's open to anybody, I'm not gonna go. But there was some young women that ended up coming, and it was great that they did. But they walked in, and again, it's all young black males. Might have had a Latino brother, Hispanic, and then there was two young white ladies who walked in, and for a split second, it was just like, huh, why are they here? But it was like, okay, we about to bless them. Yeah. And intentionally put them in Casey's circle as well. I think we had a little bit more older, mature males in ours, and they had a little bit of the younger ones. And I thought it'd be a dope dynamic for the older white woman to hear the young black male's perspective. Yeah. And when I tell you Casey smashed that joint, that circle was so loud, there was a quiet pause in our circle. I'm over there looking over like, damn, what they talking about? But it was dope, man. But talk about your experience, man, because you made a huge impact on that woman. A huge impact.
Yeah, she was amazing. She was actually awesome and needed for these type of situations because her ability to be vulnerable, super, super transparent and vulnerable, created a safe space and a welcoming space for everybody else to be vulnerable and talk about some of the things that they're dealing with. But I think it got to a point where she was crying so much she started to apologize for her tears. And I think I just had to let her know, like, no, there's no need to apologize for your tears. You got to look at it like this. You have tear ducts for a reason. They're there for a reason. And if you can kind of use that and apply it to some of these religions like Christianity or Islam, through Christianity, they get baptized in water, and then you become cleansed, and then blessed with the wisdom of Christ. Mm-hmm. And in Islam, they go through water. They put water up their nostrils, around their ears, a certain place, but it's a ritualistic thing that they do that symbolizes cleansing. But with crying, I tell people that's a natural cleansing for the soul. You understand what I'm saying? You got to cry it out sometimes. This is how you handle this particular emotion. It hurts. It's a natural emotion, and you got to cry it out. But her crying let me know that this is something that she's still working through. Yeah. And it's okay. This is why we're creating this space for you to cry. I got you. It's okay to cry. I understand. So yeah.
That's powerful, Marcus. Remember, me and Fred had that moment where we were like, speak from your wounds, not from your scars. A lot of times people don't realize they still have scars and they're bleeding on people because they haven't healed.
Yeah, so that's a really dope quote. I remember when you and I'm just call my dog Russ. I'm sorry, but no, all love. But when my partner said that was something that really stuck with me, and that was actually something we said in the beginning. So right when we kind of established, the expectations, kind of things of that nature, started off giving them some context. We talked about being intentional. Not from talking from your open wounds, but talking from your scars, essentially. And I think it really helped set the tone as well. And honestly, for us, because I think that was the first time the rest of the team kind of heard that as well, and it kind of hit. Because to your point, man, in some of these spaces, when you have some of these vulnerable conversations, somebody can kind of just dive into a hole, right? Yeah, and it's because, right, to your point, they're not talking about from things that they held from. They're talking about things kind of top of mind at this very moment that's been hindering them, that they don't feel they've had a space to talk about. And that's what's dope about the restorative justice. But it's also like we need to have a conversation in more depth kind of offline following this as well, too, to your point you spoke of earlier.
What's crazy is, bro, have y'all ever been in a space and you start just talking about something and you see somebody get noticeably uncomfortable? Like, have y'all ever noticed that? Bro, the craziest part when it happens is like you could do two things as a facilitator. Like, you can run or you can go full force into the thing. Like, and what's funny is I lean more on going right into the thing. And the reason that I do that is because now if the person gets up and leaves, that's one thing. Like, I'm like, all right, they just don't want to hear it. But if I see them like they squirming, but they still there, I'm like, let me lean into this because they know they need help with this, but they just don't know what they need. So I'm like, let me attack it from a perspective that I don't know you, because a lot of times you don't know the people. Like, you really don't know the people in the space. Like, the only thing you know is that you have good intent. Like, we assume positive intent, right? So, bro, I always would try to lean into the thing because this space, if we allow it, it could be a place for growth. It could be a place for healing. It could be a place for networking, family. Like, it could be a lot of things, conflict resolution. Like, if we really allow those circles to be that space. I'm also interested in asking y'all, like, how do y'all go about establishing values? Do y'all do it the way that we trained y'all, or have y'all kind of adopted another way now?
You can. What's your thoughts, Casey?
I go through the way that you guys trained us. It's just more easier for me. It's more for me cohesive for everybody.
Yeah,
So yeah, I do
yeah,
that way.
yeah.
Yeah, so I've got creative. We got creative in a few different dynamics. But I think establishing values can be. I do like it. I think it depends on the crowd. I think if they're a little, if this is really foreign to them, and I can see that, then I think the format in which you did is definitely the right proper way. But I think there is a few other ways. Trying to see. There's been a few different ways we've been a little creative with it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you always use do you traditionally use a ball as a talking piece, or
No,
you stay away from that?
it's so you can use whatever you want to use, right? But depending on the situation, we work with a lot of alternative youth, and some of
Mm-hmm.
them are in there for violent situations, for fighting, stuff like that.
Understood.
So I'm not gonna bring a rock, you know what I'm saying? I'm not anything that
Yeah.
they can harm each other with. But like we have like we got basketballs, footballs. I got a little like brain that I bring all the time. Like we got all types of tons of stuff. Like I got my basketball right here. So it's nothing wrong with it, but you just want to emphasize like we're passing it to each other, like handing it
Definitely.
to each other more so. Like and even if they toss it, but like we don't want to be tossing it all the way across the room and all that stuff. Like
Understood.
yeah.
Now, there's a reason I ask, because that's one way that I've introduced it, as far as more so like made a game out of it. Almost like, I don't know, when you were younger, you played silent speedball. It's kind of just catch it. Like
Yeah,
we
and then
did
if
it
your
in
hand
that and
land on
that.
something, and then it's like a I think I've seen it. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
something of that nature. So we play around with it. But I asked because I want to hear Casey talk about his specific talking pieces. Because during the second session I had the opportunity to be in his group. And I know my brother, but the way that he shed light on a lot of his story and provided context, it just provided for a dope arena for a transformation to begin with. So, Casey, I'd love to get more insight on your specific talking pieces you use and how you introduce it.
Yeah, for sure. I always bring my prison ID. I still, fortunately, I still have my prison ID that I first went to in prison with. It's very old, fatigued, faded, beat up. You can barely see the picture, but you still have my SCDC number and my name on it. But I also bring my Bronco ID, which is my university ID that I'm in school with. And these are just that basically stepping stones, but also traumatic, life altering experiences for me.
Mm,
So I lead with that. I like passing that joint around because it give a segue to kind of opening up about some of my traumatic experiences and being vulnerable to let them know I've been through this XYZ, but also I've overcome that. And now, hey, here goes my Bronco ID. Yeah, as we pass that around, look at it now. I transcend. I overcame that adversity. Now I'm in this space. And this is what I'm doing now. But it still was life altering because it gave me a better vision for what I'm striving to do. So yeah, it's dope. I
yeah.
always get something that's kind of
Mm-hmm.
like sentimental or a piece that's life altering or something like that because I just think it kind of it give you that segue to connect with the people in the circle a little bit better.
Yeah,
It it does. I think those talking pieces really set the like the foundation,
yeah.
especially for somebody who's brand new. Like man, for one of mine, it's like a little something that was on my baby's book bag. And it's like a little Hello Kitty thing,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And I passed it around. Like I noticed some people when they first saw it, they were just like, "What is?" You know what I'm saying? But as I gave context to exactly why I have it, right? This is my world. This is what changed me when I had her in it. It just opens up the story. So what
Yeah.
I've done is I've actually paired questions with specific items, right? So now, for instance, like I have a charger block, right? And I may go put that hand in hand with my daughter, which she empowers me. She charges me up, things of that nature. And I just saw things connect because then they're like, well, what does this talking piece mean to me, right? It
Yeah.
provides a whole extra layer of value.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm gonna give y'all some tools for y'all tool belt offline. I can't get these gems away on camera. But
Yeah,
man,
yeah.
it's the one of the dope things I think with the talking pieces, values and all that, just the practice and all, is like you would say Casey very well, like you or fairly
Mhm.
well, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
you could go into this circle with Casey and learn something new about him every time. Like I'm
Mhm.
talking about learn something new about him every time, and y'all can go to a circle every day for a year, and you will learn something different about him every time. And the dope
Sure.
thing, shout out to Chuck, man, one of my brothers. He says the quality of the question will determine the quality of the answer. So I think a lot of times, like y'all are asking really dope questions. Like as facilitators, we have to ask challenging, thought provoking. We gotta ask questions that like people be like, man, why would he ask me that? I never thought of that. Like we gotta ask those questions. Like that's truly our job. It's not to give answers. Like I hope y'all, if y'all figured, I don't know if y'all figured this out yet, but our job is to facilitate the asking of questions. We facilitate the conversation. We might introduce a talking piece and say, oh man, this added this type of value. And that was what I was getting at. Is like every talking piece, you would hope that when someone brings it, it has some type of significance to them. And like the ones that have the greatest value, those are the dopest because you could tell a different story every time. Like I'm pretty sure Casey could pull out that prison ID, and if he wanted to, there was a specific occurrence he could reference. Like, man, I remember maybe I was in isolation for something, this, that, and the third happened, and it could be a specific instance. It doesn't have to be it was a stepping stone every time. So that's my point. Like, even though on the surface, like, oh, it's just his Bronco ID. Like, no, this joint got some stories behind it. Like, for sure.
For sure.
Nah, that's spot on. Bro, you recently did something that I thought was extremely dope just as a brother in general, man. You had the opportunity to take on one of your homeboys, little kids, man. He has a little man, you have a little man. You had the opportunity to get them together. Man, just shout out. That I think that's a testament of a man, especially when bro wasn't in the best position, being able to hold him down, be a resource to him, and really just pour life in the little man, bro. Tell us a little bit about that experience, especially from Solar's perspective as well.
Man, it was absolutely amazing, man. I took that as a badge of honor. The brother, he down bad right now. Got a couple charges, whatever that might be about. But be able to get his son, man. A lot of our brothers. This is why I wear the uniform again. A lot of our brothers are back there behind that walls, and their children are still out here. So the brothers that do have homeboys or brothers or fathers that's incarcerated, this is just me saying, hey. The family dynamic still must go on, and right now the absence of male masculinity is missing. Yes. And this is the root cause of so many problems that we're dealing with in our community surrounding our little black boys. There's no guidance, there's no discipline, there's nobody to show him what it is to be a man and how to handle and navigate his emotions. So to be able to get his son, which I'm gonna continue to do, it's going to be a special project for me, and my son enjoyed it. It's a bit times where he's not used to that, so he was super jealous. I'm like, bro, you allowed, man. Like, I'm playing with little man, throwing him up and down. He like, Daddy, my turn. And I'm like, hold on, bro. Like, chill for a second. My little man kind of heavy. I'm like, I can't throw you up and down like that no more. But, he's just not used to that other being around. But it's just dope experience. It's something that that's just a challenge for all black men that's got a nephew or got somebody, a child, especially a little black boy in the family, their father would probably them died because of something or they're incarcerated, man. Play your part. It ain't always about the money. I didn't really have to spend anything. I just spent time with them. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
I think that go hand in hand with being a mentor, man. I think just everything that we do, and I'll even take it a step further, man. Marcus alluded to it earlier, just being a vessel, man. I think when you really look at the culmination of your life, like, are you pouring into others? Like, are you being impactful to others? Are you being a light, in the darkness for others? So, man, I love everything we talked about, man. But I want to ask you something. I think if I saw this correctly, you had an opportunity to either be in a magazine, like, to talk about that. What was up with that?
Oh, I had a chance to do the Focus Matters magazine. It was better bachelor's edition.
Okay.
And they just went around to a bunch of universities, interviews about the collegiate. Hey, man, I already know what you.
Hey, you said it. I ain't say that. I ain't know that was the name behind it. But okay.
Yeah. It's man right here.
So hold on. Let me ask. Being that you said it, I was gonna let it ride. Better bachelor. So this is young men who are in position to court others, is what I'm hearing, right?
No, these are young men who are in college, young men and women who are in college, and older men and women who are in college, going through their collegiate journey. Just matriculate.
Bachelors, because they're getting the degree. Okay, when I hear bachelor, I'm like, you a young bachelor, you out here. I'm like,
just basically exposing a lot of college campuses about what they're doing to create better bachelors. I'm excited about that. That's probably like the greatest accomplishment so far. because we had a chance. Me and my son had a chance to be on the centerfold of it. Out of all the other universities and out of all the other participants, it felt good to flip through that three different pages and see me and my boy on it.
Yeah.
And talk about some things that needed to be talked about, and just me matriculating through college life, man. It was amazing.
Sounds like
That's fire. Those are moments, those are memories you'll always reflect on. I hope you hold on to that magazine and duck it off and never let go of it. Especially for soul artists, see that, man. One thing I want to commend you on, bro, you've done a phenomenal job showing the next generation like what you weren't able to see, right? You talked about how you didn't see the homecomings, right? You ain't see the Airbnbs, you ain't see those things. But Lil Man is experiencing them early, man. He be on campus just living life like he the mascot out there or something, man.
Sure, man. I love it. He love it too. He always talking about school. He got the Bronco Pride attitude check down pack. He's repeating like on his own. Like he's not playing.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful, man. But it's the time in our conversation where we pivot to our growth segment. So again, we have a partner who left something for us, which is real good. So the question is, what fear or beliefs are holding you back from fully committing to your dreams? And what small action can you take today to start moving beyond them?
You asking me that?
Yeah, that's okay. He said you asking me that. Yeah, that's
I thought you was just putting it out there for a second. Okay.
Hey,
man,
I thought he was really thinking about it. I was like, damn, he thinking.
That's what I said. I was he finna come with a fire answer.
It's a fear that I deal with now. That's probably holding me back is failure. Who wants to fail? I know a lot of times, sometimes, not a lot, but sometimes in these new spaces that I'm in, I'm realizing that imposter syndrome is real. You understand? You get at some of these tables and then you start to realize like, hey, I don't have the necessary or the particular decoration that some other people may have to even be at this table. So maybe I need to pivot and go somewhere else. But however, a piece of paper or never determine a man's intellectual capability. That doesn't matter. All you got to do is keep going. So, but my fear of failure is keep me stagnated in a lot of places. Sometimes, you just be want to stay in that bubble. Yeah. And one of the small actions that I have taken is an action plan. You just got to create your action plan and make sure you work your action plan, even if you don't accomplish one of those goals in that day. You get up and do it again until you accomplish it. So,
stack those bricks every day.
Wanna be great, it gotta come with a price. Gotta watch what you ask for. I strive for these moments in life. I'm still learning and giving advice. I try carrying the weight of the world. See, I saw when I was losing myself. I had to catch my breath. Nobody got you like you got yourself. So it's important for you to know who you are. Cause in the dark you gotta fight with your heart. Even if your heart broken apart, but they still gon' judge me. So tell me how that's been here for me. I had to see that everybody didn't love me, like everybody ain't for me. I took chances just to see for myself. Cause for the longest I've been hurting myself, trying to blame someone else. I stand on it, don't regret what I did. Cause I can live that my intentions were real. My heart just needed to heal. Gotta get back to loving myself and trusting myself and better my health. Nobody loves you like you loving yourself. You gotta know who you are. Gotta get back to loving myself and trusting myself